Hi everyone, welcome back to another tutorial, and for today's tutorial project we're going to make this Evening Love bracelet. This is done on 2 needles and it's a right angle weave, a very simple weave, but today I'm going to show you how to do it. In here I used pearls and I'm going to show you how to use crystals. These are just crystal rounds. So for this you're going to need only 2 superduos, and the reason we need those is for the end, just to sew on our closure and to sew on our clasp there. This part to do up on our cup button like this. So I used a superduo there and I used one here. I used a 3mm Firepolish, and this one is a 3mm white opal, which I will be using today. The super duos I'm going to use, which you aren't going to see very much, is the Jade Picasso. These are a bronze Toho seed bead, and these are 4mm round crystal, and this is what you're going to need. I'm going to use a cup button today. You're welcome to use whatever you have on hand. So if you don't have a cup button, you can use a regular button with 2 holes or a button with a shank, whatever you like. You can even use a big huge bead. For this I'm using Nymo thread, the dreaded Nymo thread, but I found it worked the best. You will need 2 beading needles. I have 2 size 10 English beading needles here, and you will need a pair of scissors. Okay, so gather all your materials and I'll meet you back here. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to thread a needle on each end of your Nymo thread. So I cut about 2 yards, or maybe 1.5 yards of Fireline, or Nymo. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to pick up one of your superduos, okay, and you're going to put 1 needle through one hole and 1 needle through the other hole, and this is where you're going to find the center of your Nymo thread. So kind of keep it nice and centered. When you put your needles on, make sure when you fold your thread over, you have both ends even. And now on your needle, you're going to pick up on whatever hand you best work with. Right hand's for me. Pick up 1 11/0 seed bead, pull it off your needle, and then you run your needle through your other needle through the bead the same way. So both your needles are coming out at the top of the bead, and then just bring that down and sit it on top of your superduo like this. Okay. Now on each needle, so your right and your left needle, you're going to pick up 3 of your 3mm Firepolish. So 3 on this hand and 3 on my left. I'm really not good with my left. Okay, now you're going to pick up on either hand, doesn't matter which hand, an 11/0. You're going to do the same thing. Pull it off the one needle, take your other needle, and run your needle through it the same way as the other one. So you have both of them coming out in the top of your seed bead, and bring these down to like this. And this is what you have so far. Let's do it again. Pick up 3 3mm. I'm just getting over a head cold or sinus infection, or I don't know what it was. It was nasty. And I got it when I came back from camp. Okay, so I'm picking up 3 on each needle. So that one's done. Now you're going to pick up your 1 11/0, let it come off your needle, and run the other needle up through the same way. Like that. And now you've done another section. So you have this. Okay, let's pick up 3 more. 1, 2, 3 on this hand and 3 on my left. I'm really not good with my left. Okay, so we have 3 and 3. Let those fall. Not right off your needle like I just did. Okay, pick up your 11 out, let it drop off, and run your other needle back up through it the same way. And bring this down. Like so. So this is all you're going to do for the length that you want on your bracelet. Again, as I tell you in each and every video, always leave room for your closure. And I'm pretty sure most of you know that you need to do that. You can't just make this, if your bracelet's a 7, you can't make this 7 inches long, this part here. You got to leave a good, in this particular one I left about, from the super duo to the super duo, there's maybe a little over an inch there. I can't even measure it. I don't have a ruler on my new computer. I gotta put one. So this is about 1.5 inches. Okay? So that's what I'm leaving, a good 1.5 inches. So just keep doing this all the way till you get to the end, to the desired length. And I'll come back and show you what to do next. Okay, so I'm at the desired length that I want to make this bracelet. And in here I have 14 groups of 3. So I have 14 sections of these groups. So now we're just going to sew on our first piece of our cut button. So first part of our couple closure. And I'm snagged. And on your needle, you're going to pick up your last super duo and you're going to put 1 needle in one hole and 1 needle in the other hole. Same like you did on the bottom. Okay. Now, 1 needle, you're going to pick up your cup button. You're going to pick up 1 seed bead, 1 of your 3mm, and another seed bead on 1 needle. Now you're going to put your other needle up through the second hole of your cup button. And you're going to take 1 seed bead off. Sorry. You have to cross through the 3mm on top of your cup button. So take 1 off, 1 of your seed beads off, and put it on this needle that you just put through. And now you're going to run your needle crossways, so through this in the opposite direction. Okay, and this should secure your cup button on top, like this. Okay, now with one side of your needle, go down on the side that you're coming out of, go down the 3mm and the cup button and the super duo, and pull this tight. On the other needle, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to go down in the 11-0 in the same hole and through the other hole of the super duo in this place where you're exiting. So you'll have 1 thread coming out of each section of your each hole of your super duo, and pull. So now we need to kind of snug this up like so. Now, I'm just going to use one needle now to reinforce. So I'm going to take this needle, whichever one, doesn't matter, they're both the same. They should be both the same. And I'm just going to park it inside my mat like that and leave it aside. Now I'm going to come back up through the superduo and the next hole and try to catch the seed bead on top of your cup button, because it'll be a little difficult to catch. Okay, and go through it, through your 3mm on top, and back down through your hole, your seed bead, your cup button, and your superduo. Okay, now I'm going to put this needle in my mat, and I'm going to do the exact same thing with this needle now. I'm just reinforcing this, but I'm using both needles. Kind of got it tangled here. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing now. I'm going to go up the superduo into the hole and make sure I catch that seed bead going up in the cup button. Now go through your 3mm, and this is good and reinforced. And right back down through the 11-0, the cup button, and end at your superduo. Now this should be really, your section should be nice and secure, and your cup button should be good and secured. So now we have a right and a left. Get this organized here. Let me get my needles on the right sides. There we go. Alright, so this is what we have. Now you're going to take one of your needles, and carefully you're going to go through the first seed bead below your superduo there. So exit through your seed bead and do the same with the other needle. Take your other needle and exit through the seed bead and keep your needle. Actually, I'm going to go through the seed bead and through one fire polish of that group of 3. So go through the first fire polish, being careful not to snag your thread, as it's easy to do. Okay, now pull this out of my way here. So we've got one exiting out of one fire polish on this side. Now we need to exit this one on this fire polish, like so. Now you're going to pick up 3 11-0s, and you're just going to skip this middle fire polish out of the group of 3 here, skip the first one, and go into the last one. And if you can, go into the 11-0 as well. And sit your 3 seed beads on top like this. And then get in position to do it again. So go through the first fire polish in that group of 3. Pick up 3 11-0s. Skip one and go into the next one, and you're just going to do this on both sides all the way down. So now, because I'm right-handed, I'm just going to flip my work around, put my needle into the mat, and work on the right side. Okay, so you're exiting out of your first fire polish, pick up 3 11-0s. Skip one fire polish, go into the next, and go into the seed bead. The next seed bead in the middle there. And this is what you should have. Now I'm going to exit out of my first fire polish in that group of 3, and I'm pulling this kind of taut on both sides. Pick up 3 11/0, skip this one, go into the next one, and into your seed bead. And now exit out of your 3mm, like so. Kind of get this one out of my way here, this thread. Pick up 3 11/0, skip one, go into the next, and into the seed bead. Like that. And this is what you're going to do. You're just going to alternate back and forth, putting 3 11/0 over top of your middle ones here. Okay? So do that all the way till you get to the last one here, and then I'll show you how to sew on your closure for this. And I'll be back. Okay, so I have gone ahead and exited out of my super duo when I got to the end of my bracelet, so I've got both needles exiting out of your super duo. Now you're only going to need one needle for this particular part, so pick up 2 11/0 and go down into the next hole of your super duo, the one that you've got your second needle exiting out of. So this is part where you're going to determine how long you want to make your bracelet. So this is, if it's too short, you can extend your herringbone stitch here. If it's too long, you don't want to do it too long. So you're going to pick up 2 more. Coming out of, I came around my super duo, I went up into the next hole of super duo and through the first bead I put on. Now you're going to go across after you pick up 2 more into this first bead, not into the super duo, and you're going to set those 2 on top like that. You're going to go up 2 beads, so you're going to go across and you're going to go up through this one and through the new one you put on here, and pull your work nice and tight. Like that. Pick up 2 more, go over, down 1, sit the 2 new ones on top, go across, and go up 2 beads. So with herringbone, it's always down 1, up 2. Like that. So I'm going to try and make this for my sister. So let's go down 1. And I've kind of made it a little too short. She does have a small wrist, but I still made it too short. So down 1 and up 2. So I have a bracelet here of hers that I'm going to measure off of this bracelet. So I still have to go a few more rows of herringbone to make it this long for her. So that's how I'm going to measure the length that I need. I might go a couple of little extra beads long, because the way this clasp is on this bracelet of hers, it's different than what this closure is. So I'm going to continue doing my herringbone, and when I finish I will come back and show you what to do next. Okay? So get your herringbone to the length that you need, and I'll be back. Let's keep doing the same pattern. Keep using the same thread, because this one here, the second thread, we're going to use for reinforcing. So we're going to kind of use up the same amount of thread. So I'll be back. Okay, so I've reached the length that I need. So this herringbone is really awesome in finishing off a bracelet. And the reason I say that is because this is, if you make a mistake and you make your bracelet too long or too short, this will really actually set your length that you really need. So I've had to add a few extra beads in here because I made this part too short. Alright, so this is just awesome. I love this finish. So now we're going to make our loop to go around our our cup button. So I think I'm going to add 24 beads to start with. Alright, so 22 I'm starting with, and I'm going to fold it over, and I'm going to see if my cup button will fit in there, and it will. So now you've put your 22 tohos on. You may have to add more, it just depends on what kind of seed beads you use. So now you're going to take your needle, you're going to go all the way down that whole one side of this herringbone stitch. So I'm coming out here on this side, I'm going to go down the other side, and I'm going to exit through the superduo, and I'm going to pull that tight. So now we have this, we're coming out of the same hole as where our other thread is, but this is where you want to double check your closure, making sure your cup button's going to fit in there. Could be a snug fit. Pull this tight, Ruby. Oops, I'm pulling the wrong one. Of course I am. So I want to hold on to that, see if I can slip the cup button in and out. And it does slip in and out. It will snuggle up a little bit once we reinforce it. So now I've determined that that's the perfect size, and I want the thread that we've been keeping aside. So I know this is going to be a bit confusing, but just keep your threads nice and neat and out of the way of each other. So let's go up through this one time. So go through this entire area to reinforce this. So go all the way up through your other side of your herringbone. Try not to miss any beads. Okay. And that kind of turned on me. And it's just pulling loose because I'm not holding on to the other thread. Just doing it very slowly, not rushing here. I don't want to snag this Nymo because it's awful when you snag it with the needle when you're taking in a stitch. Okay. And exit out of the superduo. So now we've reinforced that once. Take your other needle, confuse you again, take your other needle, so you want to at least have 3 revolutions of thread in your closure. So I'm coming out of one end of each of my superduos, so go back over into the next hole and go all the way through all these beads one more time. I like to go 3 times. If I know there's 3 times thread in there, I'm happy with that. And this will tighten it right up now. So it's going to be a little bit harder to get between the beads. And now you should be exiting when you finish this, 1 needle in each side of the superduo. And that's where you want to be. Wow, I did it all in one pass. Okay. So that is good and sewed on perfectly. Alright, so we have a needle exiting out of each side of our superduo, and that's where you want to be. Now you're going to pick up 2 11-ohs, and you're going to skip this 3mm fire polish and go into the first 2 seed beads of that group of 3 that you put on top there. And pull. So that's what you should have. Now you're going to pick up 2 11-ohs, and we're going to be using our 4mm rounds. Pick up 1 round and 2 11-ohs. Alright, skip the first bead and go into the middle bead of your groups of 3 here. So pick up 2 11-ohs, oops, a 4mm and 2 11-ohs. And just jump across and go into the center bead of that group of 3. Like so. And I think it works quite well with the crystals. You can use crystals, you can use rounds, semi-precious stones, you can use anything that's a 4mm. And I'm picking up 2, 1 crystal and 2 more, and I'm just going to go across into the middle bead of the group of 3 that we put on. Right? Now I've done three times on this side, so now I'm going to switch needles, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side now. Pick up 2 11-ohs, skip the fire polish and go into the first 2 beads, the first 2 in your group of 3, and sit the 2 beads on top. Pick up 2 11-ohs, 1 crystal or pearl, 2 11-ohs, and go into the middle bead of the next group of 3. And this is what you should have. 2 11-ohs, crystal, and 2 11-ohs, and into the next bead. And that's basically all you're doing for the rest of this bracelet. 2 11-ohs, crystal, and 2 11-ohs, and exit there. Okay, so this is all you got left to do in this bracelet is finish putting your embellishment on the edge. If you like this edge, I really like it. Keep pulling your work nice and tight so it sits nice. That's it. So I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to finish putting on my embellishment, and I'll come back and show you my finished bracelet. Okay, before I get any further, I'm going to show you this. I am going to pull this all out, because the reason I'm pulling it out, on this one here, I used a 11-oh in here, and it's laying nice and flat. This one's bulking up too much, and I'm finding it's because of the shape of these seed beads. These are Toho's, and these are Miyoki's 11-oh galvanized steel, or galvanized silver. So, I'm finding these to be a much fatter bead, like in terms of the length of it. They're longer. So it's causing this bracelet to stick out like this and buckle, and I don't like it. So, to cure that, I took my thread off my needle, and I'm just going to carefully pull it out without dragging on any of the crystals, because it'll cut it. And I'm only going to stick 1 seed bead in between, because 2 seed beads is bulking it too much because of the shape of these Toho seed beads. So when you're doing this and you notice it's cupping up, like sticking up like that, like you don't want it, you want it close to your bracelet. So try it with 1 seed bead, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like after I pull this out. Okay, I did try it with 1 seed bead, and it didn't work. So this is where you have to make adjustments in your work. And us people, or what do you call it, designers, that make stuff like this, we always have to keep trying different beads till we get it perfect. So because I did not use Toho I didn't use Toho seed beads in here, it makes a huge difference in probably the pearl and the Toho. And I'm using a crystal and pearl and a Miyuki. And in here I'm using a Toho and a crystal. So I'm going to adjust it, and I'm going to try some 15-0s. So let me get some 15-0s dumped out. And this color is called Ditch Rock Lined Crystal AB. So, whoops, I forgot to thread my needles again. When I tried the one seed bead, and when you pull on it, you pulled it, it buckled the bracelet like this. So you don't want that to happen either. You don't want it wavy. You want it to just lay flat. So let's try some 15-0s and see if we put two 15-0s, if that's gonna be any different. The bird's in a happy mood. It's morning. He's had his fruits and vegetables, and he's playing on his perch. We took him to camp with us, and he sat outside the whole time, slept in our tent in his cage, and he had fun, and the people there were just astonished that we had a parrot out at camp. But they're part of the family, so we couldn't leave him home. And the sad part is I got a bad comment, and I banned that person from my channel. She said, "Your bird is annoying," and that's all she said. So I had banned her. So here I'm going to pick up two 15s, and if this doesn't work, then I'm going to pick up a 15 and 11-0, because two 11-0s is too much in a Toho seed bead. So let's try this. And you could pretty much tell the first, see, that's too loose. You're going to have thread showing, but let me take one more pass. So I'm picking up two 15s, a crystal, and two 15s. And I'm just passing into the next. And it's actually kind of working out a little better. Okay, can you see that? They're sitting nice and flush in this little valley here. And no threads are showing. So I'm holding it, pulling it tight, holding this and pulling, and I see no threads. So I'm going to continue with this. I'll come back and show you the finished bracelet, and I'll show you how to go around and use up your thread so you're not wasting it and going through all your beads again. Like I said, just play around with your beads, what you've got, and try to get it so it lays flat. When you pull it, hold it here, pull here, and make sure no threads are showing, and your bracelet's not going to buckle when you pull on this tight. Okay, that's where you can tell. So I'll be back. Alright, so I'm at the end of my bracelet now, and I forgot to mention that I did keep the two that you first strung on after your super duo. I didn't take the two 11-0s off there, and I'm at the end here, and I'm going to pick up two 11-0s, and I'm still not going to use 15-0s in this area here. So I'm just going to try and go through. Well, I'm going to have to go through the 11-0, I think. Yes. Oops. And place those on top. And they're not going to stay because they have to be in the super duo. Alright. Might have to go right through the cut button in order to get through there, to go around. So let me see if I can try one more time. I'm actually wanting to exit in the super duo, so I have to go through the entire cut button to put those two nicely on the side like that. So I'm just going through all these beads, down through the other side, pulling it tight, because now this end is done, and you can see that the 50 nose worked out perfectly because the bracelet's laying nice and flat, and that's what I wanted. And I won't give up until I reach what I'm looking for. So pick up two 11-0 or two, oh, what the heck, I picked up 15s. Pick up two 11-0s. Pull this one tighter. And exit through your 2 beads, like so. Now I'm just going to take this thread I'm coming out of here, and I'm going to go all the way down here through my work again to reinforce where I've got these crystals on here, because crystals like to break your thread. So I'm just going to reinforce the edging by going through everything again. That's a challenge. And then I'm going to tie off this end. So I'm going to go off camera and finish this. And I'm going to do the same over here on this thread. I'm just going to go through all the beads. I kind of don't like how this one went. Oopsies. I forgot to go through this bead here. Oh, jeez. I can't win for losing. Alright, I'm going off camera. I'm going to fix what I just did. I totally skipped. Totally skipped a bead in there, and look at my thread sitting right over top of that bead. Don't want to do that. So I'm just going to go and pull it off. Yeah, you need to exit out of, when you get to the end of your bracelet, you need to exit out of, boy, I'm really fraying my thread, but I don't care. It's just the end of the bracelet now. You need to exit out of this bead here, your last bead, because when we did it on this side, we exited into this bead here on each side, so we don't have a thread showing. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so I've reinforced all the outside one more time because I had a lot of extra thread, and once I completed that, I went through the center beads here and tied off each one on each side and tied a bunch of half-hitch knots. So that's it for the Evening Love bracelet. I don't know if you guys will like this one or not, but I think it's really a pretty bracelet. It's not super slim. It does sit nice on your wrist, nice and flat, and that's what you want, is a nice flat bracelet. So this one I made for my sister, which is a little smaller than mine, by far, by a lot, actually. Well, maybe an inch or so shorter. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and you like my video. You share and subscribe. And I'll see you soon on the next video. Bye-bye.